Hi everybody, today I'm bringing you a video for the A-level English language course, and today I'm looking at the particular aspect of graphology. So first of all, what do we mean when we talk about graphology in English language A-level? Well, essentially, graphology means the study of the use of layout and design, particularly when it comes to looking at multimodal text such as web pages or articles. And graphology means exploring the way that the design features such as layout, colour, text, font, image, the way that all these elements interact with one another to help form meanings. So within that broad category of graphology, it's useful to also think about different elements such as typography, which is specifically the use of different fonts, colour, text size, and different arrangements of letters and texts. This can sound quite simplistic, but it's important to note that many different texts actually take a very deliberate approach to the use of typography in order to create meaning. So it's about keeping a really open mind and looking for any particular interesting features or patterns that you may note. Alongside this, it's also useful to consider the use of orthography, which denotes the systems and conventions of spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. So when we think about this, we normally think in relation to the standard English forms of orthography, and any deviation from this that we would call non-standard forms of English, punctuation, grammar, and capitalization is usually incorporated within a text, again for a particular meaning and effect, and it's your job as an English language A-level student to pick up on the what and the why. So why don't you have a look at the image on the right of the screen now, which is a film poster for a film called The Truman Show, which was released in around 1998, a long time ago now, but it still remains a very popular and interesting film today. It might be useful for you to pause the video now and watch the trailer of the film so that it makes a little bit more sense to you if you haven't already seen it. Once you've done that, or if you've already seen the film, I'd like you to think about how these terms that I've just explained can be applied to this film poster for The Truman Show. So take a moment now to look at the broad use of graphology, the use of typography, and the use of orthography, and have a think about what meanings are created, how all these elements link together, before I go on to explain how I would interpret this film poster. Okay, so now that you've had a moment to have a look for yourself and have a think. Okay, so now you've had a chance to have a look at the image, or if you haven't already done so, please pause this and come back to it. But I'm now going to give some interpretations according to those three elements of graphology, orthography, and typography. Okay, so starting with the graphology, I'm going to concentrate now on the main image that's presented in the poster. So at first glance, this image seems to be deceptively simple. It seems to be quite a pixelated image of the central character Truman, which is played by Jim Carrey, gazing up into a blue, cloudy sky with a broad grin on his face. But if you look closer, the actual image itself is created of tiny film stills from the film itself, and they've chosen particular backgrounds and color designs to then enable them to create this picture of Jim Carrey, which is an amazing achievement and must have taken hours and hours of work. So it's a really fascinating image, and we need to consider why has the poster designer chosen to create such a complex image but frames it to look so simple. And we'd want to think about the film itself and if there's a connection there between the moral and messages or the ideas in the film and then the poster design that looks simple on its surface but actually is very, very complex. And if you've watched the film already, and again, if you haven't already seen the film, I would encourage you now to pause this video, watch the film trailer, and then come back to the study. because this is going to contain some spoilers. But the film itself, as you know, is a very deceptively simple one. At first, it appears to be simply about the central character, Truman, who's getting a bit bored and dissatisfied with his monotonous, mundane life in the suburbs, and he craves more. He harbours deep feelings for a woman that he encountered, and is losing his sort of memory of her, but still harbours these strong, passionate feelings for her. And he starts to notice things are going a little bit strange in his life. He's also bored with his wife, and he's trying to have more out of life. He wants to travel, but every time he seems to express an interest in breaking out of this pattern of traveling or of changing things up, all the people around him that he is close to reinforce this monotony, and they warn him not to travel. They remind him that he's got a deep-seated fear of the water, which seems to stem back to some childhood trauma that he experienced. And they all seem to be working very hard to just remind him of how perfect his life is, even though actually that's not what Truman thinks himself. As the film goes on, we begin to realize, the audience, that we are actually watching Truman, a play within a play, essentially. That Truman is the star reality TV of a show that he's completely unaware that he's starring in, and it's been broadcast to millions of people across the globe, and Truman has no idea, and he's been starring in that show since his birth. And as the film moves on, it's about his desire to unravel the mystery of why he's in this show, and what's got him there and what's kept him there, and his desire to break free and live his own life independently. So the film itself then has those layers. It seems simple, but it's very complex, and we've got to put all those pieces together. Truman has to work really hard to put all those puzzles pieces together in order to understand his life, and to make a new life after the show's ended. So that fits in really well with the design of the image, that has this multi-layered purpose. So an analysis of the film poster and the graphology would consider those elements and how the form of the poster links to the meaning of the film itself. Furthermore, if we consider then that this image is almost not an actual true representation of Truman or Jim Carrey, it is constitutes of all tiny images, that then suggests that there is a level of artifice here, that this is an artificial image. The smile's not real because it's simply created of other images. So again, it links to this idea of lies and artificiality and deceit, which is one of the central themes of the film itself. Okay, so now we're having a look at typography, which is specifically the use of font and different fonts, and the colour of the font, style of the font, size, and the arrangements of the letters and the text within the multimodal image. So let's begin with the title of the film, The Truman Show, and note that it's, although it's right down at the bottom of the poster, which is quite unusual. Normally you would probably have the title of the film at the top or somewhere centrally, and the decision for doing that allows this central image of Jim Carrey's face to be the main focus of the poster, which is obviously very deliberate, to allow that dual meaning to happen. But the design of the poster wanted the title to stand out, of course, so otherwise people wouldn't know what film they're going to go and watch, and they do so by putting the text beneath this red blocked background, which really does stand out. Having a look then at the text, Truman and Jim Carrey, it's interesting to notice that there is some sort of link there between the colour of the text. Both are white, and the background. So Truman is beneath that red background, the word Truman, but Jim Carrey, the lettering at the top, also seems to have a sort of red shadow, which sort of allows it to have that kind of 3D standout effect of the font. And having those in a similar style immediately creates a connection between the main character Truman and the actor Jim Carrey that is played by. And that seems really simplistic, but it is a very notable and obvious design feature there. And then you've got the and show either side of the Truman Show in a different colour and arguably a different font, which again is a very interesting design, because we know that if we've watched the film is about the Truman Show, but the film is also about Truman as an individual and breaking free of that show. So it's interesting that you've got Truman in a bolder font, capitalized. We'll go on to that in the next section, but it's standing out against the and show, which almost signifies his desire to break free of the show within it, which his whole life has been contained. Okay, now we're going to have a look at orthography. We're going to start again with the film title, The Truman Show. And it's interesting to note, to go back to that film title at the bottom there in red, that the word The Truman Show, which is the title of the show itself and the title of the film, it does not conform to standard capitalization, because it is a proper noun. So we would expect the use of the definite article the to be capitalized, and by deviating from that standard use of capitalization, it allows the word Truman, the proper noun Truman, to stand out, which I think links to the point I was making earlier in the typography section, which is to show that there's a battle between Truman as an individual and the Truman Show as a brand and a show, and this is the individual versus the system. The whole film is about that struggle. So here we've got Truman trying to break out of the Truman Show. So the use of non-standard capitalization, I think, helps to undermine the show itself, and helps to establish Truman as the most important part of the title. Also underneath, we've got the tagline, the story of our lifetime. So if we take those words together, we've got the Truman Show, the story of a lifetime. Now, this can be read in multiple ways. At first glance, it could be trying to suggest to the audience that if you go and watch the Truman Show, you're going to watch a story of a lifetime, and it will be a story of your lifetime that will be memorable. So we've got the use of the indefinite article a, denoting that this film is going to be a story that you're going to remember in your lifetime. So we take the indefinite article a to mean the audience. However, if we've watched the film and we understand that this whole premise of the film is about Jim Carrey having lived his entire lifetime within the show, we can then actually get a secondary meaning, and we can interpret the tagline, The Truman Show, the story of our lifetime, to mean thus: the Truman Show is the story of Truman's entire life. Which is exactly what the entire film is. And lastly, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel and have a look at the other videos that I've added here. This channel is for students that I teach and any other students that are studying the courses I'm teaching at that time. So although I haven't got a great amount of videos myself at the moment, I am trying to grow the channel, and with the more subscribers that I've got and likes and comments and appreciation, the more I want to put in work and create more resources for you. That being said though, I also use my channel to create playlists that I think might be useful for any of the students I teach. So for any students watching this video, please check out my playlist on A-level English language. I've got lots of videos there saved that should be useful for you on areas such as pragmatics, child language acquisition, face theory, politeness theory, etc. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share to anybody you think that would enjoy this video. And I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.